Today on our Fighter Spotlight series, we have Pierre Ba. Pierre is a 6-4 amateur MMA fighter. He is training out of Team X Combat Wrestling Traps down there in Virginia Beach. Pierre, thanks for joining us today. How are you doing?
Doing pretty good. Thanks for having me here.
Awesome. Glad to hear it. I wanted to, get started with a question that I like to ask a lot of the fighters that we sponsor and a lot of people that I just get to talk to in the community, which is, how did you get started in combat sports in the first place?
Well, started back in high school when I wrestled for Coach X, who's currently my head coach for X Combat Wrestling Traps. I graduated, and he wanted to start a little MMA team, so I decided to come and help train his fighters, along with one of my teammates, Ryan Parker. So we both decided to come back and support Coach X and his MMA team, and then Coach X thought that, hey, maybe you guys should fight. So Ryan was the first one, but me, I was a little hesitant. Didn't want to. I didn't want to fight because I wasn't a fan of fighting. But then one day I just said, hey, you know what? Why not? Let's try it. So he booked me for a fight, which was in November of 2015, and I won, and I got hooked ever since. So I thought maybe, hey, let's do one more fight, see how I feel, and we'll go from there. So I had my second fight. The loss was kind of controversial, so I said, no, I need to run it back. So ever since then, I just been going.
That's awesome. And it happens for a lot of people. I think that first fight gets them hooked. But it seems like you said you were kind of hesitant to really get into the cage and fight. Where did that hesitation come from?
I'm not a very confrontational guy. I'm more so, to chill, lay back. I'm always in the corner. I just keep to myself for real. So when Coach said, hey, you guys want to fight, that's when I said, I'm not really feeling it. I'm just gonna go ahead and be a nerd But then one day I just decided, you know what, forget it, let's do it.
And
So.
That feeling of being laid back, being kind of the person who's a little shyer back in the corner, there's a lot of fighters who kind of have that mentality. Now, when you're making the walk and you're preparing to get into the cage, do you have to consciously flip a switch, or is there something that you do to get prepared to fight, or do you also fight with that calm, cool, collected manner?
I tried to fight with that calm, cool, collected manner because at the end of the day, at first my mentality was I have to go to work Monday, so I need to get in and get out. So that's why I kind of focus. My first couple years fighting, I kind of focused on nothing but defense and counterattacks, but ever since then, I decided to be on aggressive. I said, hey, I need to be more aggressive. I need to push it. So I started going from that laid back Pierre to, hey, he got to go in there and go get it.
And did that also change the way that you train in the gym when you changed that mentality for fighting?
Yeah, it does. Like I said, every time when we spar, I try not to spar hard. But like I said, as I'm getting better opponents, as my career keeps progressing, I have to, pick up the pace. So I started being a little bit more aggressive. I started going hard to the body, but still light up top, and just working on my kicks, stuff like that. So I'm implementing uh, more of my moves that I do in the cage to sparring, so I can better myself when I fight.
And that makes sense. And that's kind of the evolution of a fighter, right? You kind of pick one or two things over the course of maybe a couple months or whatever that is to really improve upon. And then you get to test yourself by actually using it in the cage, because sparring's one thing, right? But then when you're going in against an opponent who you haven't never sparred with or trained with or anything like that, that's when you really get to put those things to the test.
Yeah, exactly.
So, talking specifics, were there some things that, you came from a wrestling background, so maybe striking wasn't something that was as natural to you. Did you focus primarily on striking for any length of time to make that gap smaller between your striking and your wrestling?
Yeah, of course. So when I first started, it was strictly, wrestling based. I came from I did Taekwondo back in elementary school and then a little bit through middle school, but
Mhm.
then, I stopped. So, and then I came back into wrestling my junior year of high school. So I've been doing that ever since. But then when I started doing MMA, training MMA, I got up with Gaddafi Bertho. He's my head striking coach, and I've been going for him for a while. So he's really the guy that really leveled up my striking in terms of fighting. So, because of him, I'm more comfortable when it comes to striking, but I still have my wrestling background. So whenever I need it, it's there.
Yeah, and it's always nice to have that base to rely on when if striking's not working, right, you can still put that person against the cage and go back to that wrestling base. Wanted to talk to you just a little bit more about the mentality of fighting, because I'm also kind of that laid back, like not really want to get in a confrontation, and fighting to me is more of a sport than it is like go out and want to actually hurt the other person. Um, did you struggle with that mentally, with the idea like you have to go out and go for the finish and try to hurt someone, but at the same time you don't really dislike that person or there's nothing that you have against them? It's a weird mental gymnastics that I always have to play going into a fight.
Yeah, yeah. Starting off first, people are green, so their first mentality is, hey, I gotta go in there, put him out. I don't like this guy because he decided to fight me.
Mhm.
But then as more fights come, then you start realizing, oh, MMA is an art. You know, uh, Here's what I can do with these moves. Here's what I can do to him. It's unfortunate he happened to be that guy. That has to be put out. But at the end of the day, it's all love. It's an art. So you can't really hate the guy that also has love for the art. So it's just two fighters in there, building I don't want to say a relationship, but building some type of a fight friendship. So when you in there, you do your moves, he do his move, and it's like, oh, okay, I like that, but I could do mine better.
Yeah, and I mean, at your point in your career now, you've had 10 fights, right? So it's not like they're the guys that are just coming in that are just angry and they just want to take an MMA fight to get, something off their chest or whatever that is. You see that maybe like in the 0-1, 0-2 area, but now that you have 10 fights, a lot of the guys that you're fighting, they're pretty seasoned amateurs, right? They're probably on the brink of going pro. Every single person that you're going to fight from now on as an amateur until you make your pro debut. There's also a level of respect that I think fighters have from the level that you're at all the way up on through, because you've been through wars and you've been through so many training camps and you've cut the weight and done all these things. Fighters kind of recognize that between each other.
Yeah, yeah, well, yeah, definitely. It's like I said, you're basically building some type of commodity
Mhm.
between the fighters. So at the end of the day, uh, win or lose, you go in there, you fight it out, and after the fight is over, you hug it out and say, hey, good shit, man.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, it's a pretty strange thing that I don't think a lot of people can always wrap their head around unless they've been in there and they've done it and they've experienced that camaraderie that you do build in, maybe 9 minutes with somebody in the cage. You could feel like you've known them forever after you're done fighting them.
yeah, yeah, the world of martial arts is so strange. I've known throughout my 5 years, in the world of martial arts, I've known more people than I've did in my last, you know, 20 years before that.
Mhm.
So it's strange. I've met so many good people. I've met so many good professors. My jujitsu coach Diego Bispo. Having If it wasn't for martial arts, I wouldn't have met him. Other gyms like Grindstone, Eastside, House of Muay Thai. And even the people at the UFC gym. You start build these friendships and then these connections, and then everybody gets together, and then it's just a huge family.
Yeah, and all those people that get together, everybody has, maybe their thing that they're really good at, and they also have that thing that they want to work on. So the more people that you get into one of those training rooms, I think the better everyone gets as a result of that.
Yeah, yeah,
And
correct.
that's kind of the fun part about traveling to train or cross training with other gyms or whatever that may be is you get to train with your main training partners every day in the gym. You know what they're good at, they know what you're good at, you're constantly testing each other. But when you go cross train at maybe a gym across town or a different city or whatever that is, it is almost like being in a fight because you don't know what those people are going to come at you with in terms of technique, and that's something that you can then share with that person. Oh, this is what I did, this is what you did, those kind of things. And you get to kind of get much better because of it.
Yeah, yeah. And that's the best part of martial arts. You just go on to different states, different cities,
Mhm.
and just show other people what you can do. Just not too long ago, we went to Miami, and and then we went and trained there, and then it was beautiful. So
It is, yeah. I always like to try to pack a gi wherever I go anywhere and try to find the closest jiu-jitsu gym if I can get a couple hours away.
that's exactly what I do when uh, when, when I travel for work. A week ahead of time, I contact the gym like,
Mhm.
hey, I was in for a week, and I need to train. Is it possible if I could come? And they say, yeah. And they're more than willing to let me come in, do their work, and then sometimes I go in there, I get beat up, and sometimes I go in there, I beat other people up. So, but
Yeah,
at
and
the end of the
that's just the beauty of, I think, the martial arts and mixed martial arts community. I've never had anyone tell me no, we don't take drop-ins.
yeah,
Everybody's always welcomed me with open arms and showed me technique and taking me through class, and it's just an eye-opening experience wherever you go. There's always that common bond between people.
yeah, yeah. That's the beauty of MMA.
And speaking of MMA, we talked about you having those 10 fights, and you're right on the verge of where most amateurs are like thinking about, are we going to go pro? How many more fights are we going to have? Is that something that you're discussing right now with your coaches moving forward?
Yeah, yeah. So potential fight in March,
Mhm.
and the plan is, I'm still discussing with my coach. The plan is to go pro, make my pro debut in March. So and then from there, see what happens. But like I said, I'm more than ready. I'm I feel like I did the time in amateur. I fought all the tough guys. I believe my last 3 or 4 fights was the top 10 guys in Virginia, and I've showcased my skills, and I feel like I'm ready for the big league.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's kind of, there's you're going to be fighting people that probably are making their pro debut after they fight you anyway, right? Then that's their last amateur fight. So why not just get paid to fight that same person? Is the mentality
Exactly.
that I kind of had taking it into, once you have those 10, 11 fights, that's kind of where you get to. Um, Now, if you do get that fight in March and contract signed and everything, do you plan on being pretty active through 2021 if you can find fights?
Of course, yeah. I plan on fighting at least 4 or 5 times if I can, depending on how the matchmaking goes. If I fight in March, I plan on getting right back in there, fighting either in May, then hopefully no injuries then and there. Then I have to fight in July, and
Mhm.
then 3 more times after that. I'm trying to get as much fights as I can this year.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that's a mentality of a lot of people after the strange year that they had in 2020. Um,
Yeah.
Before I let you go, you mentioned earlier, you said something about being a nerd, and then I noticed the posters that are on your wall. So, so what are you into? What makes you a nerd?
Uh, the typical generic, I'm into anime.
Mhm.
I play a lot of games. I read a lot of mangas. So as you can see from the
Mhm.
poster in the background, One Piece is my favorite anime. So I decided to get the wanted posters. So yeah, and then I watch a lot of Naruto,
Mhm.
and some mainstream, play a lot of games, stuff like that.
And what are you gaming on?
PS4.
Mhm. Do you plan on
PlayStation
getting a
all day.
PS5?
Yeah, yeah. I had planned on getting one when it came out, but everything was sold out,
Mhm,
and it sucks because I had pre-ordered games. I had pre-ordered Spider-Man Miles Morales,
mhm.
and I still don't have a PlayStation 5, and it's stuck in my library, and I can't even play it.
That's the worst. Yeah, I switched from PlayStation to Xbox when Halo 2 came out, and all my friends were playing on Xbox Live, and I've been on Xbox ever since. But there's still hope. I might switch back over to the PS5.
You gotta switch to the dark side. It's the best side.
All right. If that happens, I'll make sure to get your gamer tag. We'll play something together.
Most definitely. Let me know.
All right, we'll do. Pierre, it was a pleasure speaking with you today. Before I let you go, just wanted to kick it to you. Any shout outs that you have, training partners, coaches, sponsors, anything like that? The floor is yours.
Okay. First, I'd like to give a shout out to Massive, and then of course, MMA Tico. I like to give shout outs to my main coach, Coach X, off X Combat Wrestling Traps, my boxing coach, Gaddafi Bertho, and the UFC gym in Virginia Beach. I'd like to give a shout out to Grindstone, Eastside Muay Thai, House of Muay Thai, and I had to give a shout out, to my family and my mom, my dad. They were Without them, this wouldn't be possible. Give a shout out to my girlfriend Aisha, because she's kind of my advisor in this career. She's telling me, hey, you need to do this, you need to do that. She's the one that kind of set up this little meeting scene right here. She was like, hey, make sure you put lotion on your face and all of that. But I think that's it as far as shout outs go.
Awesome. Appreciate your time today. I'll be in touch. Looking forward to seeing you making that pro debut soon.
All righty, thank you.
Awesome. Thanks.
Bye bye.